And then so we're gonna do on page 34. So as I said, I always like to start with the page with the last of the four imaginables here. Depends, different translations, different things, so they have different orders, but I like to start with equanimity. So we're gonna start on the top of page 35, and then we go back to the page 34, the four imaginables. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. And then now we do refuge and bodhicitta, I think on page 98. Mhm. Thank you, Rana. So we're gonna do it 2 times in English and 1 time in Tibetan. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Nange chodan soki chonam la janju bardu dani kyapsu chi dagi chunye ki pe sonam ki drola panche sangye drupai shu. Thank you. Hey, so this is the first class I'm gonna introduce the how to practice Dharma. That is the name of the class. I don't know why I decided to do that, but that was what came to me. But especially I feel that is because there's a book from Lama Zopa Rinpoche called How to Practice Dharma. And I don't know if any of you have the chance. I think Don said that he read it twice. Very good. I think Jackie knows already. Yes. And anyone else already have read that book, How to Practice Dharma? No? It's a very, very special book for Rinpoche. I always say is for me every time I read it is a bucket of cold water because it just shows me how I know nothing about Dharma and how I'm not practicing Dharma. The idea is not to make us like feel, let's say, discouraged. Quite the opposite. It's like I think we all would be very happy if we are doing something wrong and someone comes and says, ah, maybe you can improve in this and that, and maybe you can go that direction and maybe it might be easier. So that is the idea of this book. And this book is just so special because Rinpoche, um, it's not that Rinpoche wrote the book in itself, it was actually taken from all of these incredible teachings from Rinpoche during many, many years. And it is from this series of books called FPMT Lineage series, which was a request of Rinpoche. The Rinpoche wanted the entire Lam Rim, the entire graduate path to enlightenment, to have specific books that would help us. So this has also another incredible book that talks about the perfect human rebirth, that talks about how to practice them. Then after that came also, I think is also part of this is the Heart of the Path, which is about Guru devotion. All of these incredible books that came to talk about a specific topic of the Lam Rim. That is the beauty of the Lam Rim. That is, if it's so well organized, I think that's why it's so special for us Westerners because we have a tendency to be a bit OCD in some things, you know, of being kind of like a little bit, we need to have, you know, a structure and things like that. This is exactly how the Lam Rim is structured in a way that help us to understand not only the entire path, but if you take one part, you understand how it relates to the entire path, right? So actually, one part can also help us to understand the entire path. And this is a specific part that is going to talk about attachment, especially understanding what Dharma is and understanding how we suffer. So it's a lot about suffering, as some of the Buddhist teachings are about understanding, helping us to understanding our minds and how we suffer, and how attachment, and especially what we call the eight worldly dharmas. We're gonna have many times to talk about it, so I'll talk about it. Don't worry. These new words now today, but you're gonna have plenty of time. You're gonna be tired of me repeating these words again and again. The eight worldly dharmas. So the book, actually, if you read in the beginning of the book, Rinpoche talks about why and how he first encountered with this idea of the eight worldly dharmas. And then it's a beautiful account because I couldn't remember so much that Rinpoche would go so much into details on his own life, on his own life story when in the beginning of this book. Because you know, like Rinpoche explains how he was born in Laudo, which is a place in the Mount Everest area in the Solo Khumbu area of Nepal, and how Rinpoche was actually, you know, recognized as the reincarnation of a lama over there called the Laudo Lama, right? And the Laudo Lama was a Nyingma master, which is a different school of the Tibetan Buddhism, who stayed meditating in this cave, which is called Laudo Cave, for more than 30 years. So Rinpoche tells the story how he was a young kid and he was like, you know, playing with his friends, and then his mom wanted to bring him to the monastery, and then he would go running up and down and wanting to go to the cave. So when he was like 2 or 3 years old. So this is very special because also make us this connection with Rinpoche and the story of Rinpoche. Because if we are here, it is due to the kindness of Rinpoche. Even though we might not have met him, it's because of his kindness, because of his incredible dedication to wanting to help all sentient beings, that we are able to receive all of these teachings, to have access, to have all of that. It's very special. So I was very happy. I forgot a little bit about that part, you know, because there are some other stories and other books that talk about Rinpoche's story. Even a book called Laudo Lama. If you do, we have it here? Maybe we have it here. If not, then definitely it's a nice book to read. So, and I was there recently in Laudo. You know, I was talking to Don that we should next year or one of these years we should do a pilgrimage to Copan and Laudo. You know, we should all go up the mountains and check how it is, and especially Copan, which is one of the places where Rinpoche started. This I think will be nice. So I'm just planting seeds here, okay? Just putting out there, and then we see how it goes. I have Claudia here. That Claudia actually she was in Copan recently, so she knows how it is a very very special place. And this book, even though was from teachings of Rinpoche from different age and time, you know, Rinpoche was started to teach in the 70s, and then he continued teaching until 2023. So they took these different teachings from these different times, and especially when he was, it's quite an old, like old teachings or beginning, or the teachings from the beginning of the time when Rinpoche started teaching in the West. So you can see that these teachings from Rinpoche, they were very applicable and very important at that time, 40, 50 years ago, and they are still very important now. And this, if we're gonna go, especially if talking about the Lam Rim and talking about the Buddhist teachings started 2,600 years ago, and we are still using it, right? But not only using it in order to help us, but we have that lineage that is alive. We have people practicing these. teachings that makes us really understand and believe that is real and possible for us to also benefit from these teachings and achieve that those realizations, those transformations of our mind, right? So if you think about it, it's quite special. It's quite special. So we are receiving these teachings in this way, but also because some of you here have already been studying a bit of Dharma for a little while, you know? So it's good also for us to go a little bit deeper sometimes and really go into understanding why and how and, you know, like what we can actually change or how we can adjust our Dharma practice so we can get the benefit of it, even more benefit. I always say to get the juice out of Dharma, right? That's what we want. Dharma and these teachers, they are all of these teachings and all of that, they are here and they exist in order to help us. So we need also to grab it, right? There's that story of like, you know, like, yes, all of the teachers, all of the Buddhas, all of them can be here trying to help you, but you need to take the rope, you know, you need to hold it. If they're giving you the rope to get you out of the fire, you need to grab it. So that is the idea as well, that we can start also getting a bit of more self-responsibility to our practice. Yeah, not only wanting to kind of like be guided and all the time and all of that. Yes, the guidance is very important, but we need to practice. It needs to come from us. It needs to really be our own decision to practice Dharma, right? So then we need to understand what is to practice Dharma, how to practice Dharma, what makes a Dharma practice and what doesn't make Dharma practice. And all of that we're going to talk about in this book. So this book is very special, very, very special. And especially I feel that one of the reasons why it is so special is because inside of the Lam Rim, we have a part that is called mind training. Actually, the entire Lam Rim, it is mind training, if we really think about it. Everything is to train our minds. But there is a specific way and a specific, let's say, set of teachings that we call Lojong. Lojong in Tibetan means Lo means mind, and Jong means training. Yeah? So that's what it is. So mind training means what? It means that you know, is that we really, really gonna have to go inside of ourselves, and we really gonna need to check what is going on inside of ourselves, so we can start to discern, not only be aware, not only understand, but start to discern what are the things that we want to let it go, and what are the things that we want to cultivate, right? That is what Lojong will help us to transform our minds, to really be able, as I said in the beginning, to increase our positive qualities and decrease and completely eliminate our negative tendencies. So that is what is Lojong it is about, right? So there is very beautiful text. I don't know if you had already here the 8 verses of mind training, Lojong. If you haven't had it, but definitely is a special special text to have if you ever any of like Yangtze Rinpoche comes, or you know, as a Geshe comes, you know, definitely ask for that, because I'm not a I don't know any of these things. I'm just blah 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 here, but you know, these texts are very, very special texts. His Holiness normally gives also a lot of these texts, the transmission and the commentary on these texts. So but all of this is very, very nice, and then of course we could be, you know, just listening to these teachings, and especially the book, read the book. But most important is that whatever we're going to do here, we're going to also try to have a bit of a discussion. We learn so much from each other, we learn so much from our own questionings, you know, because maybe one of our doubts can be the doubts of others, but someone cannot, like, maybe have the idea, I didn't know. Oh yeah, these and these helped. So please participate. Please engage with me, and don't let me here suffering just talking by myself. Okay? So that is very important as well. And this is one of the books that I really like as well, because there are meditations on the book. So we're also gonna do meditations. We're gonna do they have some orders, but I I am very arrogant. So I'm changed some of the orders of the meditations because I feel that sometimes some of these orders is just to make it more, let's say, gradual on how we're gonna actually get into some of these topics. So we're gonna talk a lot about attachment, and the eight worldly dharmas is that we have attachment to certain things. So I want us to talk first about attachment. What is attachment? And we can define and we can engage and we can really connect and recognize attachment. So important. Attachment as in general. And then we go to the specific types of attachment and then aversion, right? So that is what we're going to do a little bit. So we're going to also do some meditations during the class, which I feel is very important because all of these that we are here, 1.5 hours together, 1.5 hours listening, 1.5 hours, like debating and contemplating, but meditating, if just stays here, doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of your time, it's a waste of my time. So we need to use this time here to really be able to create inside of ourselves not only seeds, but tools that will help us whenever we are out of here. If you think about it, there's 24 hours on a day. Maybe 7, 8 we are sleeping. Then 1.5 hours we are here. And then the rest, what are we doing? What are the other 14, 13, 14? My maths are not so good. So 14.5 hours or something like this. What are we doing? We are letting our minds just go into everything that we are trying here to undo. Doesn't make sense. It needs to be practical. You guys need to come here. That's why you need to ask and you need to really decide and say, but I didn't understand. But in my case, I have this. And in that case, how does it work? So you, on your daily life, can apply when things come up. Because don't worry, problems, they will continue coming. Situations, difficult situations, challenges, whatever it is, they will come. It's not about we trying to change them in the way of like, I don't want them to happen. We don't have any control if it's going to start raining or not. But if it rains, what are we going to do with that? What we actually going to be able to do with whatever is happening with in our lives. So that is what we have control of. That is what we're going to try to develop a little bit here. Okay? So, um, I've heard Rebecca told me that actually I don't know if we have the books here, okay? But on the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive, you can find it online, a PDF for free. You can just download it, and you can just download it even ebook or whatever, whatever those ebook things you have it. I think you guys know more about this than me, but if you have the e-Kindle of all of that. So I'm saying that to encourage you to also read the book, because if you read the book, you're also going to connect with Rinpoche, because I'm not going to be able to transmit, to share what it is to read those teachings directly from Rinpoche. So I highly encourage you to do that. Okay?
They also have it on audio.
They also have audiobook. That is very good for all the driving around, no? And you can just kind of like put it. Yeah, this is nice. This is good. I didn't know that. This is nice. And it's not with my voice, so you can don't worry about that. So it's very good. You don't need to worry about it. You have a good, probably good one, someone reading now. Nice reading. Um, so yeah, so any questions or any remarks or anything so far? Are we getting there? Yeah? Yes.
Can we get it in the book?
Mm.
I heard Kindle, I heard audio.
You can. I think that if you write, I think in the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive, I think I think probably even on Amazon you can buy. Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
It might be out, it might be, well, some of those have gone out of print. We might
Out of
have
print.
but
Yeah, but
it is on audio.
if you can, there's one over there maybe. Yes, but you can find it still. It's a very
How to practice.
Dharma is from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. That's the book. So yes, it's because the story of the book, and then here we can start going a little bit more, is that Rinpoche, Rinpoche was when when Rinpoche was born and he was recognized, as a young reincarnation, and then he was his mom was so fed up of him running around that she sent him to another place in the Himalayas called Rowaling. It's another very, 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 very secluded valley, almost in the border with Tibet. And she sent him that because she was so tired of him. His father, so Rinpoche's father, had passed away. They didn't have money. She was having to take care of all of these things, the cow, well, yaks. I don't know if you know what's a yak. It's a hairy cow. Yeah. Well, actually, yak is the male. So is a what is the male of a cow? Cow man? Bull?
Yeah.
So it's a hairy bull. That's what a yak is. Because people sometimes say, "Oh, I have yak milk." If someone offers you yak milk, don't drink it. So it's a different thing. So then, Rinpoche was very poor, and then all of these, and they went to these because his uncle was a monk in Rowaling. So Rinpoche went over there. And then there Rinpoche became a monk. And that was the first time that Rinpoche also met with the Westerners. He was going into this kind of like bridge, and then he fell into the river and he was almost dying. And Rinpoche tells a very beautiful story about how he started to realize that, oh, this person is going to die in this life. This person that they call the reincarnation of Lado Lama. At he was 5, 6 years old, and he was already having these thoughts. And then a Western person saw it and picked him up from the water. So you see, we have a strong karma with Rinpoche. So then out of that, Rinpoche came and then continued studying over there and memorizing. And he tells very nice stories. And then he went to Tibet because his uncle brought him to Tibet, and he started to actually really study Dharma. Then there was China invaded Tibet in 1959 and during many years. And then in 59, many of the lamas and the Rinpoches, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, also left China, right? Tibet, and went to India. And Rinpoche went as well. And he tells here as well how he met Lama Yeshe. There's a very special connection, how they actually met with each other. And but then they stayed in this place called Buxa, which was a prison. And can you imagine how it was? The conditions were horrible, and they were coming from this high plateau. It's very cold, and the mountains, and they went to India, which was very hot. So many of the monks died because of disease and all of these. And then, because Rinpoche was born in Nepal, they decided to go to Nepal already with Lama Yeshe. So in 1969, I'm making a very short story summary about Rinpoche's life because it's much more interesting. But I feel that it's nice that you read because Rinpoche is telling the story himself, right? So it's very nice. It's a very nice way of connecting with the story. And then in 1969, Rinpoche finally went back to Nepal. Well, they went a little bit before, but in 69, he went back to Laudo for the first time. And there, the son of the previous Laudo Lama, which was the reincarnation of Rinpoche, gave back all the texts that the Laudo Lama had. And in there was one text that Rinpoche didn't know about it, and he was starting to reading, that is called Opening the Door of Dharma, the initial stage of training the mind in the graduate path to enlightenment, which was composed by Lodro Gyaltsen, which was from a disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa over there. So Rinpoche says that the story is that Rinpoche was there taking care of, they were building a gompa, a monastery, a meditation hall in Laudo. And Rinpoche was supposed to be there taking care of the workers. Because, in Nepal and India, if you are not there, they don't work. So he had to be there taking care. But Rinpoche found this text and he went into the cave and he was just he says like really so enthusiastic and learning so much from this that he said that he would not pay attention to the workers. So he was just there giving money and then not knowing anything, just like because he was so touched by this text. And Rinpoche very kindly says that, well, when he started the reading the text, he realized that he never had practiced Dharma in his life, because the way that the text describes Dharma and describes a very famous way that Rinpoche after used it so many times in his life, what was worldly Dharma and what was holy Dharma was very different. So he said worldly, worldly Dharma and holy Dharma, very different things. So Rinpoche realized that he was always practicing worldly Dharma, but not holy Dharma, right? When he started to read these texts. So he said, everything that I've done, all of the memorization, all of the retreats, all of the things that I did, it was never really Dharma. So for Rinpoche to say that, I don't know you, but me definitely, then I never practiced Dharma in my life. But then Rinpoche starts to understand and to explain why why this text was so special, was so special. Because the text goes into what it is, what we call the eight worldly dharmas, but especially because it talks about the dissatisfaction of our mind. And what it is, the dissatisfaction of our mind, it is because of attachment. And what is this attachment that we have, especially the text will say, attachment to this life. So this is very important. We can actually stop here the talk because that is the entire meaning, but we need to understand what that means. And that's what we're going to explore. What it means, the dissatisfaction of the mind, what it is that comes from attachment, what it is this attachment that we are attached to what? To the pleasures of this life, to this life as a whole. Rinpoche is going to describe in so many ways. So this is what we're going to try to talk about these days. So as you guys are not asking questions and I'm here, blah, 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 I want to ask, when you hear that, okay, attachment to this life, what that means to you? What that means? What, if we would stop here the talk and not explain anymore, what would that mean for you? Yes, Hillary.
Maybe that think that this life is so important that everything is take things so seriously.
Yes, very good.
Heavy.
It's very good. That's definitely something that we do, isn't it? We take, especially taking things seriously. Wow, we take it so much, we grasp and we kind of like, and then we create so much problems because of that, right? Definitely, definitely. Someone else?
And it's all about us.
Yes,
All about us.
yes, that is definitely.
Everything is falling around me,
Yes.
what I want.
Yes.
All about.
Yes, yes, definitely. Someone agrees with that? Yeah? Sure.
True.
It
I
is.
think another thing we learn in the West is it's important to have a good career. It's important to make good money.
Yes,
Those kinds of external
yes,
kinds of things.
very good.
And that will make you happy.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, and I have to say that in America, this is quite strong, isn't it? Yes. I haven't been here for a little while, but I can see that a little bit.
Is it that different? And so,
Not so much, especially because we have been very influenced by America. But definitely, I feel that the part of not taking things so seriously sometimes, the Brazilians have maybe a little bit more, more relaxed. Some places, not São Paulo, maybe is like a big city, but yeah, sometimes we do have a way to relax a bit more in relation to things. Not so relaxed as in Indians. That's so relaxed. Indians are very relaxed. Too relaxed sometimes. In Nepal as well, it's very funny. So working sometimes over there, it makes my Western like mind and square mind of the everything is last minute, everything is no, it's okay, it's okay. They're like it's okay. And actually in the end it is okay because nothing changes. The results still happen, the things still may come together. So definitely there is ways to do it more relaxed, because I think that as we are hearing here is those attachments, right? To ideas, to concepts, making them so concrete, believing in them and reacting to that, that creates all of these problems, right? The online people, anyone? I think someone put it something here on the chat. Let me see here. Yes. So also, one Claudia said also attachment to the body and the sensations. Definitely, that's a very strong one. We are very attached. These Brazilians are much more than Americans attached to the bodies. That for sure we are 10 times more attached to the bodies than but it's true. Attachment to the bodies and the sensation is actually something that completely hook us and makes us totally get lost of what it is that it really touches us in here, right? It makes us go outside all the time, making us all the time be looking for external pleasures, no, just to feel that excitement again and again. But as we're gonna say, those excitements, they don't actually feed our need, don't feed what we are actually looking for. And what are we actually looking for? What is that what that we want? Jack?
To live forever.
To live forever.
Unless you get really old, maybe that's a
Then you're done. No, you're good. Actually, I understand. I think yes. I think definitely we have attachment to living forever, to permanence, right? To being permanent. Re, I heard Kandrala. Kandrala is a very special teacher. She's actually like one of the oracles of the Dalai Lama, and she's a very special teacher because she's a woman, and that for me already says already a lot about her, because I'm very in favor of women teachers. So and she's not a nun, and she's one of the lineage holders of one of the most important lineages of the fifth Dalai Lama. So she's one of the only women lineage holders of, and especially of this practice. And I had the fortunate to be close to her recently. She was doing a tour of teachings in Europe, and we were discussing, and she was saying that Lama Zopa Rinpoche, because Rinpoche had a stroke, and he had diabetes, and he had like high blood pressure, and he was, always that he sometimes you'd say to her, this body is getting me, tired of this body already, I'm kind of like ready to get a new one. So we do have, I understand the permanent, but some of us sometimes don't have it so much attachment to the body. So definitely, but what else are we wanting? What else are we wanting that we are like looking for so much outside? Or what is this me or this I? What does it want?
It's to be happy.
Yeah, wants to be happy. That's a big word. Happy. What that means? Happiness, right? We want to be happy. We need to know and understand what happiness is. You're going to say something?
I think we would like to have the perfection, perfect life.
Perfection. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're free from suffering.
But to be free from suffering, yes. You are very Buddhist, both of you, being wanting to be happy and not and be free from suffering. That's the definitely the right Buddhist answer. But yes, but I like the what you said about perfection, because perfection is something that perfection is very interesting, because is perfection the same for everybody?
impute what we think perfection.
That's exactly this, right? We impute what perfection, we create perfection, right? Because perfection in itself does exist, like, as something that everybody has or wants the same type. No. So we impute, very good word, impute our perfection into things. And that's why it is so important for us to start even considering learning about Dharma, or learning about the eight worldly Dharmas, or learning about how to get rid of them and how to overcome them and how to really find happiness. We need to understand how our mind works. That is so important. That is so important to understand how our mind works. And that is, if I really say, the real Dharma. If we would need to really translate what Dharma means, it is to understand our mind. That's what Dharma is, on a very summary and applicable way. And understanding our mind, I always say that to do that, we need especially a few qualities that we all have, but that they are a little bit harder sometimes to us to connect with them. Because the first thing that we actually going to need, courage. Because learning about how our mind works means that we're going to have to go inside, and we're going to have to see things that we have been for all our lives trying our best to hide, suppress, keep it at distance, avert, do whatever you want to imagine, to not sit down and check what it is inside. Understand what I'm saying? Yes? So courage, extremely important. Extremely important. To have the courage to go inside, to look inside. To have the courage to wanting and to understanding that yes, it's gonna be quite a ride, but the benefits and the result of doing it, it's far better than whatever we are actually thinking it can be. And not only this, the other thing is that, as he used the word imputed, also the negative aspects that we think, that we are imputing in our minds, that is making us actually wanting to avert, wanting to suppress, wanting to not connect with what's inside of us, is not as bad as it seems. That is very important, because that's what we're going to need to do. In order to work on our minds, to understand how our minds work, we're going to need courage. And then the other thing that I always talk about is about, once you have courage, then you're going to have a second part, because the courage is the motor that is going to make us start. But then start to do what? Start being honest with ourselves. Honesty is a very strong, very special and important part of the path. Because without honesty, we can fool ourselves. That is the basis of this book. We can be wearing some robes, cutting our hairs, doing prostrations, making prayers, doing water, doing this and doing that. Nothing of this is done. Nothing of this is actually helping us to become a better human being. And what is going to make the difference here? Of course, understanding, which comes with knowledge, which comes with the different types of wisdom. But this starts with honesty. Okay? So honesty is very important. Honesty is what is going to make you continue evolving. Because unfortunately, it does happen that sometimes we enter into a path and we decide to, like, look for a spiritual path, or we're looking for something to help us, and we just change clothes, or we just create other problems, and we, instead of continue with that initial honesty that brought us there, we let us just get caught up into the day-to-day things, into the carnival, is a good Brazilian word, a carnival of things. And then we lose track of what we were doing. So honesty and courage, they go like together to create and to continue and to nourish our initial motivation. Very important. So important. That's what we need. So we can start going inside and start to work with our minds. Because our minds is a very complex thing. Wow. The human mind, especially, we are complex in some ways. In other ways, we are very easy. Especially when we start to learn about the eight worldly dharmas. I remember the first time I read about them, and I read this book. It was almost like everything that I was doing, I could just categorize, like label. Oh, this is the eight worldly dharmas. Oh, this is that dharma. This is that worldly dharma. This is just that. So it's actually quite simple. So it's a map to give us, to understand us how we are all the time looking for attachments, because the eight worldly dharmas is talking about attachments and aversions. And if we start to look in our minds, that's how we work 24/7. We get attached to this, so we grasp to this, we engage to this, we put effort, we create an entire life dedicated to something that we are grasping and we believing that it is going to bring us happiness. And the same with aversion. We have aversion of something, of someone, of a situation, or an idea of ourselves, or what is perfection, what is not perfection. And we spend our entire lives running away from that. Do you recognize what I'm talking about? Yes? You recognize? Good. So, any questions or any things? This is coming to me. I'm having an idea now. You guys need to be, I need to be honest with you guys. I am a horrible, 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 I don't even like the word teacher, because I have no structure. I don't like structures. You can see already, no?
I don't have it either.
Okay, good. So I have sometimes, I go and I spend hours preparing something, and I have all of these things right here, and I don't say anything. I don't use them. I just go. But I do have it in my mind, things that I know that is what we need to talk about it, and then I just go feeling, and then we just go, and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm very sorry for that. I'm very sorry. But I think that is like this becomes more authentic, more free, free as well. But that's what I think it is important that we also can together. So if no questions, I want us.
You're clairvoyant.
No, what?
Think about that.
But because I was thinking, we should do a little meditation on attachment and aversion, so we can start recognizing in our lives these attachments and these aversions. This is, I think, is a good idea. It's a very good idea, because then, also it's going to help us to be a bit more honest and courageous. Yeah, shall we do it? Good. Let's do that. So let's find a comfortable posture. So yeah, so let's find a posture that is comfortable enough just for the next 10-15 minutes. A posture that helps us to let it go, the attention from the body for a few moments, and Let us go inside, turn our attention inwards. You don't need to find the perfect meditation posture, but at least to have the back straight, the shoulders relaxed. If you want to put your hands in the meditation mudra like this, or if you want to put on your knees, whatever suits you, that can make you relaxed and forget about the body. And we can also start now to just paying attention and bringing our attention to our breath. Becoming aware of the air coming in and out of our nostrils. We don't need to follow the, the air coming in and out. We just become aware of its exiting and entering through our nostrils. And every time we realize that we are getting distracted by some thoughts, ideas, sounds, or maybe some pain in the body, just acknowledge, realize, I'm aware that's happening. Remember your motivation for wanting to understand more about yourself, and then let it go and bring the attention back to the breath. If you are getting sleepy, you can slightly open your eyes, let some air come in, let some light come in. Now that we were able to concentrate a bit our mind, bring it a bit more focus, we can start analyzing it. We can start just becoming aware of whatever is happening in our mind. Don't get involved in the story. Just observe the thoughts or any feelings, emotions. Just like clouds in the sky, allow them to come and go. Don't identify yourself with them. Now we can start to think and observe if what we said and discussed now for the past hour, that is true. Especially the part that we were discussing, that our minds are always attached and always trying to avert things that we don't like, and that we are always looking for things that we like. For example, try to remember when you were trying to concentrate on your breath just now. Probably there were thoughts or thoughts about the past, the future that were coming. Try to remember and observe if they were about things that you are attached to. See if you can recognize there was attachment. Or right now, while you're trying to concentrate on this, check what is coming up. Maybe attachment to certain idea, certain perfection, or something material. Maybe some aversion, an idea, to someone, to something. Just check your own experience, your own mind. Don't be afraid. Don't judge yourself. Try to use the two qualities of honesty and courage. Continue checking, analyzing. You can recognize. Maybe you can recognize a theme that keeps coming back again and again. To observe now. And slowly we can relax our posture, relax our attention, open our eyes, Good sleep? Yes. Sleep meditation? Yes. So, anyone wants to share if they were able to recognize any themes or topics or attachments? Claudia? She wrote. I went so soon. So deep by saying I could see self-cherishing. Anyone? Any? Yes.
Four Noble Truths into mind. The suffering, causes suffering, attachment, and ignorance.
Mhm,
But the good news is there's a way
mhm,
to end that,
mhm,
practicing the Dharma.
mhm.
Basically what I focus in my mind.
Do you think there was any attachment to that?
Which is, of course, attachment,
Mhm,
aversion.
mhm. But do you think that there was an attachment to think that this is the way? You understand?
It
Okay.
was an observation.
Okay. So it was more a neutral observation, you think? Okay. 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 Good. Very good. Yes.
It was for me a desiring to want this to get on,
Mhm.
want to get on with this out of practice.
Yes.
You know, I felt that I just was in this space and let's get on with this.
Yes.
Let's get some lessons about how to do it.
Yes.
I needed more teaching, so I was
Yes.
desiring those things.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Feeling rest.
Yes. 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 Very good. Very good. Everything is good. Everything is very good. Attachment to concepts, to external validation, and aversion to unpleasant criticism. Claudia say. Very good. Very good.
Talking with my family, sometimes I tell them, oh, today I had so many problems.
Mm.
And then with this meditation, I realized but there are no problems. It's just that usually I like to obtain what I want every time.
Mhm.
If not, that is a problem.
Did you hear? Could you hear him? No? So he was just saying that when he normally talks, do you want to speak a little bit louder so people can hear? Yeah?
Um, I was talking with my family this week, and I told them, oh, I had so many problems this week. But in this meditation, I realized that there are no problems. It's just usually I like to obtain what I want every time. And if I don't obtain that, I label this as a problem.
Very good. Yes, yes. Yeah, because the idea of this meditation is that we start to recognize exactly that, how we are labeling, and especially also what you said is like, I want this now, and I want, I want more things, which is good that we want that, but we can see that there is just no calm and, a kind of like a pleasant feeling. There is a tightness. There is a bit of a, no? That's what we need to start recognizing. And why it's so hard for us to recognize is because we are living all the time like this. So it's almost like, someone that like me, I can't remember when I didn't have glasses, right? So it's like living has always been like that. But someone says, oh no, you can live, bless you. So someone can actually, you can live without glasses. And then you say, oh wow, it's possible, right? So this is the situation that we need to start recognizing. Because when we're going to define the eight worldly dharmas, if I just say to you, these are the eight worldly dharmas, but you don't know how to recognize them. Or, which is even worse, we start to say, to grasp, to get attached to the eight worldly dharmas and start thinking, that's why we need to understand what attachment and how it works first. And then we need to have these experiences and we need to check in our minds how it pops up. Because all of us here, we have different attachments. The attachment in itself is the same. You understand what that means? The experience of attachment is the same, but the causes and what we are attached to different. So we, each of us individually, we need to recognize what is our attachment, you know, because that's what we normally do. We want to help everything, you know. Sometimes that's the problem with Buddhism sometimes, and we talk about benefiting all sentient beings and compassion and all of that. Then we start to thinking, oh yeah, you have attached this, oh, I'm gonna help you, you know. We become the savior and we forget to look inside. What are we attached to, you know? That is what we need to do. We need to start looking what is that we are attached to and how this attachment is popping up. So after we can understand how to transform it. So everything very, very good. Because we need to understand that the attachment is the problem. The problem is not, you know, the outside object. It's not the person. It's not about that. It's about the mind of attachment, the clinging. And that's what it is going to be about. Is that mind that is attached to things like this life, to certain things, that always makes us dissatisfied. And because makes always us dissatisfied, we're always suffering. And we're always looking for more happiness. But because we don't understand our minds, we look for what? More things that are making us more attached. And then instead of making us happy, we become even more unhappy. This is very easy to see in our lives. The more, you know, what you were saying is like, I just want to get what I want, you know? Yes, and you get, and then 5 minutes later, you want something else, right? That's how our minds work. And we just, and we start to observe this world. And you know, I went with my friend the other day here. We went to Whole Foods. And I was shocked, honestly. I think I spent too much time in Nepal, in India, you know, but I was shocked the amount of choices we have. And where does it come from? Where does it come from? From what we just meditated and talked about. Attachment. Not understanding our own minds. So this meditation looks very kind of like basic or very like, but all the problems that we have in the universe is because of that mind. Because of not understanding, not recognizing, not transforming the mind of attachment and the mind of aversion. All the problems that we have in society. Why? Because exactly that. We think that this attachment, that whatever we're going to grasp is going to give us whatever we want, right? Then we don't get it. And why we don't get it, we're going to talk next week. And because we want again, and we continue. And then we invent soya milk with calcium, soya milk with this, soya milk with that, soya milk, that, almond milk, oat milk, this milk, that. Oof. Yak milk. Exactly. And the world is this mess because of that. Right? That is how it is coming from. That is what we need to observe in our daily life. That is what we need to understand, that if we understand that mind, if we start to understand, just recognize, just see in your daily lives, you know, for this next week, Your homework is gonna be just pay attention. 24 hours you have. Well, maybe 8 hours you sleep, so the rest, the 16 hours. What is your mind going to? What it is? What is it jumping to? From one thing to the other, to the other, to the other. And as I said during the meditation, try to follow a theme or catch. Is that a theme? You know, understand what a theme means? Like something that repeats several times. The exact pattern. That's it, right? You guys need to teach me English, so it's good to do that. So, you know, like a pattern, like theme. Check, check. Because right now it's just that we need to do. Just check and observe. And you know, as I said to Margaret yesterday, because yeah, I think it was yesterday that she was a bit anxious that we were a bit late and something like that. And she said, "Oh, but I can see that I'm getting anxious." And I said, "Margaret, you are 1990, 99, 19, you know, 99.99% of the people don't even do that. They're not even aware that they can see that anxiety is coming. So what we need to start training first is just this awareness. Oh, look at me here getting attached to, I go to Whole Foods and I get, you know, you gotta live in a little bit, you know? Just observe that, just check that, just get familiarized with yourself with that. This is, for those that came to the meditation classes, this is familiarization, is meditation. But then first we need to understand, we need to learn, then we need to apply. Okay? That is the important point of today, of understanding, recognizing, checking, getting familiar with. Okay? So Claudia is writing here, she's asking, can the aversion become an attachment? Yes. Can aversion become an attachment? Yes. We can become attached to aversion. And we can become aversion to attachment as well. Right? Which is a little bit what we want. We want to, I don't want attachment. I don't want this grasping. Right? But depends on the motivation. That is what is going to make the difference. Because it's not inherently existing bad or inherently existing good. Let's say like this. Not going to go there now. I know that you like to debate emptiness, but we're not going to go there now. But that is very important. So that's what we just need to understand. We just need to get familiar with ourselves. That's why I'm saying it depends on you, your life, your day. You know, just check how you know. And I like what she said about the perfectionism. Check about the perfectionism, how you are trying to, you know, one of the things, I don't want to go there now because it's a big topic, but just try to observe how you are attached to ideas of yourself. I should be like this, and aversion to I shouldn't be like that. Just check if this is there. Maybe you don't have it. I know I have it, but maybe you don't have it. But just check.
You know, it's interesting because I have an aversion to perfectionism.
Yes, you see?
I just can't stand it.
That's it.
So I have an aversion to.
That's exactly this. But you have an attachment to being a virgin to
Yes.
to a perfectionism. I can relate to that. Okay, we gonna do then just a short dedication, and we do which prayers we do for dedication. We do a okay, huh?
246 is one of them.
246. Ah, you guys do Shantideva, no? Shantideva. Okay, so we're gonna do. We're gonna do many things here. We're gonna do 246 and 247. Then we're gonna do, no, okay, I'll guide you. So 246, we start on 246. So we just take a moment and before we dedicate, always good to remember, to remind ourselves of what was our initial motivation for being here. And not only the initial motivation for being here, but we can also think about all the efforts and conditions and energy that we put into be able to make this motivation to come about. All the efforts of driving here, of staying awake, of listening to this blah blah blah, of contemplating, of questioning, talking. So good. We dedicated all of these efforts, these positive imprints, positive seeds that we are creating inside of ourselves. May they be the cause for all sentient beings' enlightenment and our own enlightenment as well, because we are also a sentient being. We don't forget that. And we dedicate for our teachers, because as we said, without their kindness, we would not be here. And we dedicate that may we continue to be able to work on ourselves, finding courage and honesty, and really walking the path so we can benefit others soon, very soon. So we do the dedication on page 246. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from the ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. Now we go to page 235. 235. General dedications. We're just gonna do the first five. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may they which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, I too dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praises the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the three times, so I might perform good works. I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect, pure Losam Drapa to shine forever. Now we do the long life prayer for His Holiness on page 244. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Now, Lama Zopa Rinpoche's long life, swift return, 234. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Lozang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the oceans of the three jewels and the great ways of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. All right. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry I passed 5 minutes. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. I hope you can put into practice and that I see you again next week. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Anybody want to text, you can get it from mamayeshi.com.
Yes.
And it is available and they're just asking for a donation.
For a donation or something like that. Yes. Very good. Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Claudia. You two go to sleep. It's very late there, ninjas.
Portugal?
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Esther. Deepa. Nana, are you in Portugal?
Yeah, estou em Portugal,
Ah.
sim.
Gente, mas tá muito tarde aí, tadinha.
What's he talking about?
Oh. You go to sleep next week. We talk. You don't need to do it. I'll take care next week. You can sleep. You come on Monday. You come on Sunday. You don't stay awake for this. No.
Eu vou tentar, eu vou
No.
tentar.
You sleep. Sleeping meditation. You create a very positive intention and then go to sleep. That's the best. But on Sunday you come, okay?
No domingo, 100% cá estou. E na quarta-feira eu tentarei.
Well, you can try, but don't need if you não precisa, tá? De verdade, não fique por causa disso.
Fico, sim, senhora. Fico, sim, senhora.
Thank you. Good night. Vicky,
Good
thank you.
night.
Esther. Good night.
Good, how are
Night.
you?
Good night.